We're recording. Okay, so this is Sue Moulton. We're doing the Fast Track series, and we are on Strong Starts for New Consultants. And one of the most important things that we want to do when we recruit a new consultant is to find out their why. So you're going to ask them a series of questions like, what would you like to accomplish with this business? And then they're going to tell you, oh, I don't know, I just want to earn a little bit of money. And then you're going to go, okay, well, you know, how much is a little bit of money? And then they'll say, oh, I don't know, a couple $100s. And then you're going to ask, well, what would you do with that? And then they're finally going to tell you, well, I'd really like to pay off my credit card. And then you continue to move forward with the, well, what else? Let's say that credit card was paid off, then what? Well, I'd like to be able to make my car insurance. Okay, well, what else? So let's say your car insurance is covered every month and your credit cards are paid off. What would you do with the money if you had an extra $1,000 a month from there? And then I would go and actually ask them, what is one family goal you have? I think when you ask that, you're going to get answers like, I want to take my family to Disney, or we would like to own our own home, or you're going to get some larger goals. We want to get down to that because the reason people start Pampered Chef really isn't just to earn $100 a month. There's some other goal that is driving them. Sometimes it's not even financially driven. It's more social, or there are other reasons. But you want to really work with your consultant, your new consultant, to find out what their why is. And the reason we do that is because in this business, you will find that we have ups and downs. And when you're up, you're like, woo! And then when you're down, you need to remember why you're doing this. You need to know what your goal is, so that when things go like, you know, they're just a little bit more work than they were the day before, you go, okay, I'm doing this because I'm taking my kids to Disney this year, do or die. So you're willing to go through difficulties. There's a learning curve with anything new you do, and you're going to have a learning curve. You new consultants that are on this call and you trainers that are working with new consultants. So you're going to do that. And then once you know what their goal is, we want to break that goal down into steps for them. And the easiest way to do that is to break it into number of shows. So you're going to explain to them that they could be trained two different ways. Would you like to be trained as a consultant, or would you like to be trained as a leader? And you're going to explain the difference between that. So being trained as a consultant, you get paid on commission only. Being trained as a leader is like management with a company. If you share our business with other people and bring them onto your team, then you will actually earn a 3% increase on everything you sell and a 3% on everything they sell. Plus, you're going to get activity bonuses and you're going to get PC dollars. And when they hit their first $1,250, girls, you're going to get 3,000 points towards your trip to Disney. So you need to explain to them, especially if one of their goals is to achieve Disney, how important the management track to Pampered Chef is. Because you can only do so many shows in a month. But as your team grows, you can increase your income still doing just 2 shows a week. So that is our jumping point, is the 2 shows a week. So we're going to explain to our new consultants that we want to schedule 2 grand opening shows. So that's the first thing you're going to do after you've found out what their goal is. You're going to get their grand opening show on the calendar, and you're going to schedule 2 of them. So based on what you have available and what they have available, if you have a weekend date available, then they're going to book their second grand opening show a couple days later on a weekday. If you have a weekday available, like you can do a Thursday, they're going to book it Saturday morning or Saturday evening. The reason we do that is not everybody can come on that one day. And we want our new consultants to get practice. And there's nothing more important than them practicing their cooking show out loud, verbally, in front of people. So for them to do 2 shows back to back, one of which you'll probably be there helping them do their show. It's called a grand opening, and so the trainer usually comes and does that show. And the second one they're going to do solo. So they're going to make the exact same recipe, do the exact same thing, and then you guys are going to have great feedback about what you should and shouldn't be doing. Because when they're doing it, it's all different than when they watch you do it. It's very different when you have to actually participate. So you explain to the new consultant that all the bookings from the grand opening show are going to go to her or him, and then you as the trainer can decide based on how your upline does it. You can receive the commission from that show if you're doing the show, or you can take the first percentage, like maybe you take the first $300 or the first $500 of the show and submit it under yourself, and all the remaining goes to the new consultant. You can work that out based on how your upline trains you to do that. But all the bookings from a grand opening show should absolutely go to the new consultant because it's all their family and friends that are there. So we're going to teach them before they start inviting anybody to their grand opening show. We are going to teach them how to call these people and actually ask them to book a show first. It's more important, and this is how I explained it today to a new consultant. If somebody buys a food shopper from you for $32, you're gonna earn $6 or $7 for that. Thank you very much for your order. I appreciate it. But if they book a show for you, that's worth $100 in a new consultant's pocket. A show is way more valuable. So you have to explain that to a new consultant because they're just so excited. Wow, I got 10 people coming to my grand opening show. Oh, I'm up to 15. That's great. And we want to have a lot of people at the grand opening show because, and even the people that have already booked shows with the new consultant, but the reason we want them there is so that the trainer, either the director or the recruiter, can get more bookings for them. More importantly are the bookings. That is the lifeblood of our business. So the scripts that you want in order to do the words for how to book a grand opening show is on the consultant corner. So you're going to go to the training and resources tab. And then I tell all new consultants, you're going to spend your first 30 days in the getting started resource section of the training tab. Because if they start clicking around online training and all these other places, they're going to get overwhelmed with information. Everything a brand new consultant needs is in the getting started resource section, okay? So tell them not to go too far wandering because unless they're really techie. I have some girls that are really techie and that's fine for them. But for somebody like me or for a new consultant, there's just too much information. You don't want them overwhelmed. When you're on the Getting Started resource section, there's some boxes that are gray at the very front page. If you scroll to the very bottom of the very bottom box, it says prospecting, spreading the word about your business. And that's the scripts that tell you exactly what to say. You know, hi, you know, Sarah, this is Sue. I'm so excited. I just started my own business. Have you ever heard of the Pampered Chef? And it tells you exactly what you're supposed to say. So all the scripts are there. So let's say your potential hostess says, hostess says, oh, I can't book it. You know, I'm just too busy, blah, 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 blah. Then they default to, oh, I understand. Maybe we could do something in June because they're trying to book their first 30 days. So they're trying to book for May at this point. So they would say, well, that's okay. Well, maybe we can get something on the calendar for June. I hope you can make my grand opening show on May 3rd. So the default is to invite them to their grand opening show. And if they can't make the Saturday, May 3rd, then you say, all right, May 5th is my second grand opening. It's only going to be a couple people, but if you could make that, it'd be really great. The most important thing I can do is to practice my show demo. So even if I'm only in front of a few people, it's really going to help. So they're going to feel guilty if they didn't book a show with you and they can't come to your grand opening show. So, you know, you're going to get them somewhere there. So it's important to start with the booking. Then we're going to teach our new consultants that it's super important that in their first 30 days, we're going to call that their training period. Their first 30, 60, and 90 is just like any new job. You have on-the-job training. And in your first 30 days, we want them to do 2 shows a week, 8 shows a month on their calendar, do or die. And the reason we want to do that is because it's very important for them to get into a rhythm. If you've ever taken 2 weeks off from a job before and then come back to work after 2 weeks, what's that like? You're like, all right, like what did I leave off? Where am I? It takes you a long time to get back into the groove of being productive. And the same thing is totally true when you take off a couple weeks from Pampered Chef. You're thinking, oh my gosh, did I leave that in the dishwasher? Do I have it in my car? What do I do with the recipe? That kind of thing. It's nerve-wracking. When I went from 2 shows a month to 8 shows a month, it was so much easier. All my tools stayed in my car. I washed them after every show. I put the kit back in the back of my car. I knew everything was there. All I had to do was replenish the catalogs. It was great. Catalogs and order forms. So the next thing you want to do is you want to teach them how to mark off their dates in their calendar. Because we want them to book 8 shows, they're probably going to have to book 10 to hold 8. Statistics say with Pampered Chef that you have a 20% fall off rate. So for me, I like to do 10 shows a month minimum. So I have to book 12 in order to get 10 to stick. So, you know, some months I actually do 16, but some months I do 8. So in order to get those to stick, you want to book 20% more than what you really need. So one of the examples that Karen has drilled into me and I just love is the example of learning to drive a car. If I told you that I was going to give you 8 driving lessons, and this is so appropriate because my daughter is in driver's ed right now. If I told you I was going to give you 8 driving lessons and you had never driven before, and if you guys remember what that's like or have teenagers, let me tell you, the first couple of days are nerve-wracking. It's white knuckle time. Okay, you can have 1 driving lesson per month, and at the end of 8 months, you'll be ready to learn, you know, you'll be able to get your license. Or you can have 1 every week for 8 weeks, or I'll give you 2 lessons a week for 4 weeks. You are going to be such a better driver at the end of 4 weeks if you're practicing twice a week, because you haven't forgotten what you learned the first lesson. So you drove on Tuesday, then you drove again on Thursday. So you had a little bit of time to think about what happened and to retweak the things that you needed to do and to practice the next week. So it's really important that they do 2 shows a week. And let's face it, people, if you're going to go to the mall and get a part-time job, you're going to be working more than 8 hours a week. I mean, we're working 8 or 10 hours at a show. If you include the paperwork, you're talking 10 hours. If you break down what we make per hour in 10 hours, the brand new consultant doing an average of a $500 show, which nationally it's like $495. So let's just round up and make numbers easy because I'm not a math girl. $500 a month, $500 show gives you $100 per show that you're doing. If you were doing 8 shows a month, you're being paid at the $4,000 commission rate, and you're going to earn about $1,000. $1,000. I had a girl on my team a while ago, and she started because her hot water heater broke. Really, all she had to do was work 1 month and she could buy a new hot water heater. Like, we have the ability to give our new consultants a start that will help them be strong. So I don't know whether it was Love Carpenter or Duska Mills or somebody gave the airplane example. So I want to teach it to you so you can teach it to your new consultant. If you are an airplane and you are taking off, it takes a lot of fuel to get up off the ground and get into cruising altitude, okay? So your first 30 days, it's going to take you a little more work to schedule your first 8 shows, to, watch your videos and learn how to do an online cooking show, just kind of get into the routine of things. So it's going to take a little bit more energy, or fuel as we would call it, to get you airborne. But if you do what we say and get 8 solid shows, maybe even 10, so that 8 stick on your calendar, by the end of 1 month, you are at cruising altitude. We're going to teach you, and we have throughout this series, how to do full service checkout, how to do a booking slide, how to get bookings from this show. If you get to cruising altitude, you will not have to work nearly as hard to stay at cruising altitude. You will be able to soar and keep a self-sustaining booking calendar. I was looking for my date timer. I must have taken it in the other room. I was going to show you one of the things I want you to teach your new consultants too at the very beginning is how to block off their calendar. I want you to be able to show them to take different colored highlighters. Block off family first. Block off your team meeting and your new consultant training for your first 60 days. Those are required, or at least highly, highly recommended. And then block off in green, because green means money, the days that you are available to work. So team-related training is yellow for me. Purple is church-related. Blue is family-related or Sue-related. And green is money. So I was going to show you my calendar. I really don't know where it is. I thought it was right next to my desk, but I cleaned so you guys couldn't see my mess. So one of the things that's so great about that is that I can look at my calendar in a glance and I know what my next 3 available dates are. We need to train our new consultants to always know in their head what their next 3 dates are. I have May 1st, May 3rd, May 1st, May 8th, and May 7th are my next 3 available dates that I want to book, okay? So you should always know what your 3 dates are so that you're trying to fill those upper dates first. And you won't be able to do that easily or quickly without looking at your calendar. And it helps them to control their calendar so that they are not working all the time. Okay, so let me just check my notes. I don't want to miss anything. Okay, so Julie Aldridge, home office trainer, was teaching on 2 bookings per show. And Judy Joel has always taught us you're not through until you book 2. That's the way it works. So we need to start right away and start training that into our new consultant's head, that at every show, they are looking for a minimum of 2 bookings. So how do we get bookings? Lots of ways of get bookings. We've talked about it, I think, on one of the other trainings, but you're going to plant seeds during your show. You're going to do a booking slide or a booking talk where you turn them to page 65 of the catalog and explain the benefits. You're going to maybe do a pile-on or a game about it. There's lots of ways to get bookings, but the end result is if you have a calendar that has 8 shows on your books and you walk away, let's say you book 8, but only 6 hold because we have a 20% roll-off rate, right? If you hold 6 shows the first month and you book 2 shows from all those 6, you have 12 shows going into the next month, right? Those 12 shows, 10 of them will hold because we'll have a 20% drop-off rate. If you hold 10 shows, so in May we're holding 6 because we booked 8 and 6 held. In June, we booked 12, we're holding 10. By July, the end of your 90 days, 10 shows times 2 bookings apiece, you're at 20 shows. You have a full calendar and you are making directorship in 90 days because you are in front of enough people that you are selling and recruiting. If you don't book 2 shows per show that you're at, let's back up and talk about how that happens. You book 8, 6 hold, and you only book 1 booking per show. So you have 6 and in May, you go into June and you still have 6 shows on your calendar because you only got 1 from each of those. 20% roll-off rate. Now we're down to 4 shows were actually held in June. You only get 1 booking from each of those. You have 4 shows going into July. 20 shows or 4 shows? Where do you want to be? In 1 more month, you're out of business. See how that works? If you only get 1 booking per show, you're going to be out of business in a couple months. If you get 2 bookings per show, even for just your first 3 months, you're going to be so stinking busy. You're going to be doing $10,000 and $12,000 months. Crazy numbers when you're doing that many shows, I'm telling you. Plus, you'll be recruiting up a storm. So you'll be getting 3,000 points left and right for Disney. Again, we talked about being the airplane. If you fuel up and put a little extra effort in your first 90 days and get your business established, think of this like a real business. Do not allow your new consultants to look at the cost of a kit of $160 and be able to flush that because they didn't invest a lot in it. I went to school for business. I will tell you, most businesses fail in their first 5 years because of the overhead, the employee cost, the cost of holding inventory, the cost of tech support. All of that is covered by Pampered Chef. We have like a $1 million business plunked into your lap, sitting on the other side of your computer. And if you would just invest in yourself, just a little bit and take some online training courses and implement the things that your directors are teaching you, you absolutely can make a full-time income and a full-time career out of Pampered Chef if that's what you want. And it doesn't have to take full-time hours. I used to work as a manager at a printing company, and I worked 60 hours a week, and I was cranky. Ask my family. This, I come home from a 4-hour, 3-hour show, and I'm just like, oh my God, I met this great person, and So you guys know it totally energizes you if you're doing, you know, a good job and your guests are having a great time. It's like you come home and you're energized. So, that's one of the most important things is the 2 bookings per show. If you don't know how to actually do the bookings, then or get bookings from shows, we can go into that. And then the last thing I wanted to just tell you about is once you've taught them the 2 bookings and the importance of that, you should do 2 more things. One is you should spell out to them right away. Once you've asked them, do you want to be trained as a consultant or as a leader? If they say leader, you should sit down with them and just pencil out on a sheet of paper the difference of what they will make if they are a director. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, how much that extra 3% is and how it works in little bubble factors. It's really easy to draw out. And if you've never done it before, just ask your director to do it once and then you can duplicate that. And then you just send your new consultant back to, I'll finish up and then you can ask any questions. I'm almost done. You can ask your new consultant to go back to the Getting Started resource tab. And on the left-hand side, there's a whole list of trainings. So it's talking about their goals, and then it's talking about connecting with their hostesses, and then host coaching and all of that. And those are things that we're going to, there's a booklet for all of you that are, that you have even just one recruit on your team. We will give you a booklet that's called Training Your New Recruits. And it literally walks you through. I gotta tell you, I love this. When I found this, I'm a non-computer person, so I didn't like wander around the web or anything like that. But there is an actual booklet for all of you that are worrying about, oh my gosh, if I recruit somebody, I don't know what to do. There's a booklet. It's called The Guide to Supporting Your New Consultant. And it has step-by-step instructions on what to do, what to say before they get their kid at the end of their 90 days. I was like, are you kidding me? I've been looking for this forever. So this is available to you from the home office. They supply everything you need to be successful at every level in this company. So if you're a consultant and you just want to sell, they will give you the tools to sell. If you want to be a director, they will give you the tools to be a director. If you want to move up and be an advanced director, senior director, executive director, or national director, they will train you every step of the way and make it available. You just have to invest in yourself. So one of the things on the new consultant training page is instructions on how to use the beta website. Everybody should be on beta. That's where we're all going. And also how to set up your direct deposit. And one of the things I wanted to point out to you guys is when your new consultant is setting up their new checking account, before they go to the bank, you need to talk to them right away about what an out and about is. You need to be telling them that that is their first out and about and how to book a show with them, because I have a brand new consultant and I shared with her, okay, you're going to go to the bank and you're not going to say, hi, I'd like to open an account. You're going to say, oh my God, I'm so excited. I just started my own Pampered Chef business. Have you ever heard of Pampered Chef? And they're going to go, I love Pampered Chef. And you're going to go, that's why I need a new checking account. I just started, blah, 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 blah. And so then you're going to, and I teach them the words on how to turn that conversation around into a booking or a recruit lead. So one of my newest recruits just got a recruit lead from the banker. So that should be your first person. So you could be recruiting everywhere you go. You could be booking shows everywhere you go. But if they don't know what to say when they go to the bank, they're just going to go, hi, I'd like to open a checking account. Okay, thank you, goodbye. They're not going to know what to say. So if you don't know what to say, which is totally okay, and we all have to learn somewhere, you need to call your director and ask them, what's the wording? And your director can type the wording up and post it on your team page or make it available through Dropbox so that you can have it and then you can share it with your team. Okay, Karen, almost 9 o'clock. I did it in a half an hour. I like wrote up pages and pages. And I was like, I'm going to have to talk so fast, but we're going to get it all in. What else? Is there anything else you'd like me to share about?
No, I was just going to say, you know, if someone says they want to be trained as a leader, rather than dreaming up the numbers on your own, there's those little red booklets from the home office about the Grow With Us. So you can just walk them through that. And of course, then share the fast track brochure as well. And of course, if you've got someone who says they want to be trained as a leader, call your director and say, this one wants to be trained as a leader, and we'll get them connected in with the trainings they need.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So does anybody have any questions about new consultants, how to get them started, what to do with them, those type of things?
Starting to learn.
Good, good. Yeah, this is Shirley. Shirley's on my team, and we recruited Rebecca, and we have another recruit for Shirley that's going to be signing after she gets her 8 shows lined up. So she's got 5 already as of today.
As of today.
As of today. So recruit number 2 for Shirley. Yay!
So I just signed a couple of new recruits, and they're very intimidated by the grand opening.
Okay.
How do you get over that? Because I just like keep trying to tell them, just book it and invite, and I'll be there for you. But they just seem super intimidated by it.
So are they intimidated by having people at the house, or just the fact that it's their first show and they're scared?
It's like the host thing. They're scared and they're afraid no one's going to come.
Okay. So you want to reassure them first. Anytime that you get an objection from a team member or from a hostess, never discredit their fear or what they're saying. So always say, I totally understand what you're saying. It's very common for you to be nervous about that. And then we're going to go in and give them the solution. So be reassuring to her, like, don't worry, every new consultant's afraid of this, or which that's totally true. And so you can offer a couple things. Pampered Chef offers little postcards that say, I just started my business. You could offer to practice role playing the invitation that's right off of that the webpage about, hi, Kristen, this is Sue. I'm so excited. I just started my own business. Have you ever heard of the Pampered Chef? Yes. Oh, I love the Pampered Chef. Great. I thought of you because I would love to pamper you as one of my first 8 shows in May. I'm lining up my first shows, and I just knew I'd be most comfortable, having a show with you. So role playing, phone calls, and then teaching her from that how, when they say no to hosting a show, if they say no, how then to turn that into, well, I totally understand, and maybe we'll be able to do something, in June or before the summer is over. I hope you'll be able to make my grand opening show on May 3rd. So if they've said no once to the booking, they're going to feel guilty not coming to her grand opening show. And then you're going to host coach her, your new consultant, just like you would host coach a hostess. So one of the things I think is really important, and I share this, it's so funny, poor Shirley. I get better the more I teach and train. Like, Shirley's watching me coach her new consultant, Rebecca, and I'm sure she's thinking, she never did any of this with me. It's because I'm improving each year I am a director. So it's a learning curve. So just so you know that, Kristen, that you don't have to worry if you didn't do it in the past, but teach your new consultant. Say to them, all right, I'm going to go into training mode and pretend that you are just a hostess, not my team member. And so then you would say, all right, Kristen, so we're all set for our show on May 3rd. I want to explain to you how important it is to have more than 40 guests invited. Pampered Chef does studies that they package the invitations in 40s, because it takes 40 guests to be invited in order to get 15 live guests at your show. And of course, we want to have more than 15 because we want to have a $1,200 show. And there's a secret to those $1,000 shows. Do you want to hear what it is, Kristen? And then they go, yes. And you go, it's 5, 15, 5. 5 orders before the show, 5 orders after the show, and 15 live guests at your show. And I know sometimes it seems a little nerve-wracking to come up with 40 names, but I'm going to help you do that. How does that sound? And then they go, okay. And then you go, great, let's work on your list. So you're going to work with your new consultant just like you would with a hostess, but instead of a list of 40 guests in 4 minutes, you're going to work with her list of 100. And so there is what's called a Frank list, and I'll post it on this team page, the Fast Track page, and I've kind of added to the Frank list So like friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, and kids or pets. But then I've added other categories in that. That's
Sorry.
So that's what I would do is I would work on working on telling, host coaching her as if she's a hostess. And you're going to be there, Kristen, doing her grand opening show for her. You can nod.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I'll be there with her.
Okay, good. So I think one of the things that makes new consultants a little stressed out is that they're being the hostess as well as being a new consultant at their grand opening show. So tell her not to worry about that. That the amount of effort that she has to do is just in the invitation part. We need to get the people there. Once the people are there, you're going to take over and help her walk her through the whole rest of the show. Karen, you have some input?
Just a couple things, like if the word grand opening sounds intimidating, how about a kickoff party? It's just a party to kick off your business. Grand sounds grand. Sounds like it needs to be really huge and big. Whereas a kickoff party, maybe just the name won't sound so intimidating.
Yep.
The other thing, just to jump off of what Sue said, if someone they talk to, in the beginning they're talking to their family and friends, their inner circle. If those people say no to a party, I tell them, they're going to feel a little twinge of guilt about having to say no to a party. So I tell them to say to them, well, there's another great way you can help me get my business off the ground. I'm having a kickoff party on May 3rd. I'd love for you to come and bring 2 or 3 people I don't know that well. It's going to help me get the word out about my business beyond my family and friends right from the start. And really, besides having a party, that's the second best thing that you could do to help me get my business off the ground. Because otherwise, those people are going to go, they're not going to know how to help. So say, oh, great, she's having a grand opening show on May 3rd. I'll come and I'll buy a food chopper.
Right.
But if the new consultant takes a minute to explain, here's another great way that you can help me, their family and friends are going to go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. They're probably not going to think of it on their own. But once they hear, oh, yes, that can really help her, great, I'll bring a friend or 2 along. And then it's not so scary for the consultants who might not feel like they know that many people. Hey, if they know 5 people who all bring a friend or 2 along, all of a sudden they've got 15 people in the room, 10 to 15 people in the room. Of course, we're going to help them, like Sue said, come up with a much bigger list. But getting the people that they know to bring friends is huge. So to give them that tip as well.
And when you are doing the grand opening show, that's one of the important things as the consultant there. When you're there, you want to thank the guests for coming. And then right off the bat, you're going to say, I just want to thank you all for being here and supporting Becky with her new business. And I need to tell you, being here is so important. But the number one thing you can do to help Becky jumpstart her business is to host a show of your own and invite people Becky doesn't know. And then I always make a joke out of it. I'm always like, you don't want to be the one supporting her Pampered Chef business now, do you? We all know some people. And so then use an example. I always use the aunt example. If Becky's aunt books a show, we're going to know Becky's aunt, Becky's mother, and Becky's cousin. But we're not going to know Becky's aunt's coworkers. We're not going to know Becky's aunt's neighbors. And those are the people we really need to the show. So while we're doing this show, I want you, so you're talking to the audience, to be thinking about who you can invite to your show that Becky here does not know. Because honestly, that is the number one thing that will help her with her business. And then you start your show. So you're telling them right off the bat what you want so that they can be churning on that, so that when you get to full service checkout, you're going to say, oh gosh, Aunt Peg, I am so glad that you're here and you came. So are you looking forward to helping Becky with her show? What date works best for you? Would you like to do Death by Chocolate or Thrill of the Grill? You start naming theme shows, and they're going to pick one that works well for their family or friends, and then you pick the date and move forward.
And give the new consultant a recipe to go along with the theme you just talked.
Yes. Well, it's so funny. I throw all these themes out, and I joke. I cook the same meals again and again. I just rename the theme. Thrill of the Grill. Every year you've gotten grilled pizza or shrimp and veggies with rice. That's what I cook in the summer. Or now it's summertime pasta. That could be 29 minutes to dinner. That could be my fresh and healthy theme show. It all encompasses. So yeah. It just sounds better than, would you like to book a show? You know, would you like to gather your friends for a wine, cheese, and chocolate? That sounds great. So I do a dip. I do, you know, a dip. I do a lava cake, and I do a brie wheel.
Yeah.
Who else has questions? Anybody? All right, Karen, what else did we miss? Anything?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think really finding out their why, really taking some time to explain the reasoning behind the why we recommend 2 parties a week to get off to that strong start. Taking some time with that, getting them on board, because once they know the why behind it, it makes perfect sense, and then they'll probably be on board with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 shows a week is the magic number.
It
I
is.
gotta tell you, it's magic. If you can start doing 8 shows a month consistently, you will not have to continue to go back around and rebook your calendar again and again. Karen and I have talked about this many a times when we're hiking. In the 3 years that I was full-time, once I got up and running full-time, where I had 8 or more shows on my calendar, I think it's maybe once a year, sometimes twice a year, where I actually have to like work a little bit and book my calendar. But like I was thinking, oh gosh, I have some May dates open, but I went and counted. I already have 10 or 11 shows already booked for May. So I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So I was panicked because I had all these green open spots, but I usually open up 16 dates or so. So yeah, you don't have to work that hard if you can get your calendar going. It's a self-perpetuating thing. That goes for all of you guys too. So
Thank
teach
you.
that.
And just keep in mind, you guys are new when it comes to this. So just because you've had this training, it doesn't mean we expect you to train and support your new people all on your own.
Right.
When you've got somebody who said, yes, I want to do this, then, and you're already doing, maybe you're at the point where you're doing your interviews on your own. If you are, and a person says, yes, I want to do it, that's a great time to then schedule that 3-way call with the director about the strong start. So don't feel like just because you've had this, that now you're out there on your own.
Thank you. I appreciate the support system, honestly. That's been the best thing for me. And I mean, it's taken, I mean, I started almost a year ago. So, and not that I'm feeling like my wheels are turning, but I feel like I'm starting to
You're picking up momentum.
Yes.
Good. Excellent.
Yes.
All right.
I want some Disney girls. Whoop whoop.
I want some Disney time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, Karen and I went to Punta Cana, and it is lovely, but it is even more fun when you have team members there with you, because when you're eating in a restaurant and you have all your peeps with you, it's loud, it's raucous, it's fun. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All
Sounds
right.
fun. My granddaughters would love it. So
That's great. I look forward to it. We'll work together on that.
So what's the challenge? We always give a challenge, Sue. Did you think of a challenge?
Oh, all right. So for those of you who have new consultants on your team, your challenge is to review the 8 bookings per 30 days. So you want to reinforce that. So even though, Shirley, we talked about that with Becky, and we're talking about it with Rhoda, you want to reiterate that in a few days to both of those girls. And I want you to teach if you book 2 shows from every show. I want you to have them write it out. So what you're going to do is you're going to have them draw a T on a piece of paper. And on one side, they're going to put a 2. And on the other side, they're going to put a 1. And you're going to start with, all right, if you have 8 shows and only 6 hold, and you book 2 shows apiece, you have 12. And 12 shows and only 10 hold, and you book 2, you're at 20. And I want you to go out 3 or 4 months on that, and I want you to do the same thing on 1 on each with all your new consultants, because if they understand that they need 2 bookings from every show, when they get 1 booking, then we need to teach them how to make follow-up phone calls, customer care calls, out and about, how to find that other booking so that they're not out of business in 3 or 4 months, okay? So
Okay.
that's my challenge to you, is that A, you need to make sure your new consultants have 8 shows on their calendar in a 30-day period. And I mean, that goes true for all of us. If you want to just jumpstart 8 shows for yourself on a 30-day period, and then teach the 2 bookings per show versus 1 booking per show to all the new people on your team. That's my challenge.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
All right.
Huddle, huddle, break.
All right.
Great weekend, guys.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.